I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're looking at a lot going on in northern and central California. We've got the aurora borealis to talk about, plus an atmospheric river heading our way. Now, for the aurora borealis, those northern lights, it's going to peak on Wednesday, November 12th. Unfortunately, we pick up a lot of cloud cover coming in and then rain showers as well. This is going to be a much cooler forecast and a weather impact alert in place. When? Thursday, the impact being rain, wind, and snow. Need to expect those travel delays, especially for Thursday morning's commute up and down the valley. A look at our big weather pattern shift. Now, the timing begins late Wednesday with the impacts being commutes, trees, and power outages possible. Winds pick up late Wednesday, last through Thursday. Gusty not only for the valley, but in the Sierra, and we'll see snow below the passes. It starts off pretty high for that snow elevation at about 9,000 feet, but through the day on Thursday, it will continue to lower all the way into Friday morning when it's as low as 5,000 feet. That's going to put it into the upper foothills and lower Sierra. So prep now. Get ready. Make sure you've got those leaves out of the storm drains and your decorations. If you have any outdoors, tie them down or bring them in. All right, let's talk about this pattern shift that we're going to see unfolding Wednesday into early Thursday. So really Wednesday is the last day to do that prep as this big band of moisture starts to move in from off the coast. Now, initially it has a pretty deep tap into some more warmer moisture coming in from the southern part of California. But as that colder air starts to work in during the day on Thursday, that's what's going to drive down that snow line. Also bring a slight chance of thunderstorms mainly north of I-80 into extreme northern California with some instability working its way through northern California. By Thursday evening, we're starting to see the back edge of this rain band pushing through the Central Valley, but snow really starting to pick up there for the Central Sierra, especially around Mammoth and Yosemite. So snow totals will kind of be iffy as we move through the day, but then really pick up later on Thursday through early Friday. We're talking about 4 to 24 inches plus in the Sierra. Nice to see that in November, especially edging towards Thanksgiving. Total rain will be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the valley. Foothill rain, though, closing in on about 2 inches or so. So again, our weather impact alert in place for Thursday. That's going to be the big day. Now we've got a second storm in the forecast. That's on Sunday. It's a colder storm, doesn't hold as much moisture, but a lot to track in our 10-day outlook. For Wednesday, we've got highs near 60 for the Sierra, 60s to lower 70s down low. In the Central Sierra, we're in the 60s. The valley still sitting in the 70s. So Wednesday's still a fairly nice day to get out and about. Central Coast, we're in the 60s, 70s inland. We'll see very similar represented temperatures throughout the Bay Area, 60s along the coast, 70s inland. Along the Northwest Coast, we're in the 60s, and then the north end of the valley will top out in the upper 60s for our Wednesday. For the capital region, we're in the upper 60s to right around 70. So pretty close to average, actually. Moving on to our extended forecast, we see quite a weather pattern shift taking shape here. As we head into our extended forecast, we're expecting periods of on and off rain and snow from the mountains through the foothills and the coast, with our 10-day forecast also showcasing that weather impact alert on Thursday with areas of rain that kind of opens the door for that colder air to work in. And we see highs by early next week only in the upper 50s, with again another chance for showers coming in to wrap up the weekend.
Happy Wednesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa. We have a lot to get to. We have a lot of changes on the way, all due to an incoming storm that's going to tap into an atmospheric river. But let's go ahead and give you your headlines as we get the second half of the work week going. We will start to see some showers arrive as early as Thursday night, mainly into Friday and Saturday, with much cooler and windier conditions to wrap up the work week. And then we'll have a secondary storm arriving next week. So here's what it looks like. This is our meteogram that kind of showcases the chance of rain day by day all the way through early next week. In particularly for the mountain areas, you notice how it goes from 9% soaring close to 70 as early as Friday, and it looks like the most active days will now be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, potentially lingering into Monday and Tuesday. We'll first feel the impacts of this storm with those breezy conditions. They will have an uptick as early as Thursday, and then the rain arrives as early as Thursday night into Friday. So as we take a look at one of these models, models and kind of showcase the play-by-play. I'm going to fast forward this into Thursday, positive Thursday night, where we could have some light scattered showers, but the bulk of activity will arrive as early as Friday morning. Something to really keep in mind, because that's the time when a lot of people are traveling for that morning commute. So it's going to be a very messy one. And this is just the start of it. Things continue to pick up. We'll have essentially a secondary round come early Friday into Saturday. And when it comes to rain totals, that's when we'll see the bulk of that accumulation. So the rainfall estimate's fairly light, right? When it comes to Friday night around 4 o'clock, we'll get anywhere from 1/10 to 3/10 of an inch from the coast all the way towards the inland valleys. Then notice what happens when I fast forward to late Saturday into early Sunday. That's when we'll see the bulk of activity arrive. Saturday all the way through early Sunday morning will accrue by then anywhere between close to 2 inches to maybe 2.5 inches. Most activity will be found in the northwestern quadrant of the county. That's where we'll see some of the heaviest rain, and it will lessen as that storm kind of pushes east, moving a little more southward. Rain preparations, make sure that we're checking windshield wipers, tires for that adequate tread, clearing the gutters and getting sandbags ready for that low-lying flooding. As we take a look at the coast and inland days, in case you're wondering why these days are highlighted in the red, that's when we're calling for weather impact days. That's when everyone kind of needs to be a little more cautious when it comes to those outdoor activities, especially when it comes to the roadways. We'll be in the low 70s, so still quite warm come Thursday, but notice how once that cooler air mass arrives, remember the system assisted with a cold front, temperatures are going to come crashing down. We'll go from the high 70s, dropping about 10 degrees or so by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, and we'll stay quite cool all the way through the weekend. The temperatures that we're expecting, they are some of the coldest temperatures that we've seen so far this season. The mountain areas are going to get very brisk when it comes to those evening hours. If there is any leftover precipitable moisture in the atmosphere by Sunday and Monday, it could transition into snow, especially in those higher elevations. So we will continue to look out for that, especially when it comes to our mountain sky cams. For the desert areas, staying warm all the way through about Friday, but even the deserts get a taste of very cool temperatures down to the 60s by the end of the week.
Check this out. Wow, come to your screen. Look at this. Mother Nature delivered a wonderful display of lights over Northern California tonight. Take a look at these stunning images of the Northern Lights captured from Modoc County to the Sacramento region. ABC 10 viewers capturing this incredible scene across the Northern Hemisphere tonight. So Brenden, between the Northern Lights and the weather impact alert you're tracking, there is a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about, but we have to start with more pictures of the aurora because we've gotten some really fantastic pictures. This one from Brian near Folsom Lake of the aurora there. All these pinks, all these reds, sometimes a little harder to see, such as this picture from Grass Valley. Sometimes a little harder to see, but it's there nonetheless, and especially for being here in Northern California. Of course, we don't always see this. Here's one from North Natoma. This is one from Bill. The previous one there was from a Threads follower on social media there. This one from the Yellow Bypass from Sarah. Again, it's a little bit harder to see, but just the coloration here that you see, that is the aurora. It's not necessarily well defined, but nonetheless, it is there. And the further away from city lights you were, the better it was. But even in somewhere like Vacaville, the pictures here are really nice. Lots of reds, lots of pinks. This one from Jaden out in Vacaville. This one up in Yuba County from Starlene, definitely away from the city lights there. Lots of pink to be seen. Here's another one from Forest Hill, again from a follower on Threads. So if you have some pictures you want to send to me, you can send it to me there, Facebook or Twitter. Of course, you can email it to us as well. But all across Northern California, we saw the auroras, provided we got enough of a break in the clouds. But the way that these form, of course, Earth has a magnetic field, and then the sun, that solar wind, sends these charged particles, these electrons towards Earth, and they enter the atmosphere at the poles. That's why we always see the aurora at places like the North Pole, the South Pole, Alaska, whatnot. But when we get a really strong storm, they work their way further south. And as these electrons travel through the magnetic field, depending on exactly how strong it is and at what level in the atmosphere those electrons reach, that determines the colors of the aurora. So a lot of the reds that we saw, those are high level aurora. That's what we saw here in Northern California. Now, I do have to talk a little bit about the weather because we do have that weather impact alert coming. Tomorrow, cooler in the low 70s, still cloudy. There will be another chance to see the aurora tomorrow night, but it is going to be much worse viewing as clouds build in. Here's that weather impact alert on Thursday as the winter storm arrives. Thursday morning's commute is going to be awful, windy and wet, but we are going to stay cool with more shower chances even beyond Thursday. Lots more to talk about.